Do you live in the US and want fast, fresh and tasty meals without the hassle of shopping or all that hard work preparation? Well, don't you worry, as a lazy man, I've got you covered. Try America's #1 meal kit service, HelloFresh, and get yourself fresh, pre-portioned ingredients delivered direct to your door. So why not eat well, stay healthy, and avoid the cost of regular takeout by trying HelloFresh? Just click the link in the description below for a special limited time discount and free shipping as well. Enjoy. Hello and welcome along to another mini midweek predictions from the Championship with the Honest Football Podcast. There are 3 games for us to talk about this midweek. We'll do a full recap of these 3 games and the 12 from last weekend. They will all be in Thursday's prediction show for the next full weekend fixture list. But there are 3 very big games going on Tuesday night, and we're going to give you our score predictions. Hopefully, they'll be better than the ones we did at the weekend. Let's start with the first one, which includes a massive game for Neil Warnock's side at the bottom. It is Huddersfield Town versus Bristol City. Both sides defeated without scoring at the weekend. Huddersfield by 4 at home to Coventry and Bristol City by 2 away at Cardiff. Disappointment for Bristol City, who of course hadn't lost all calendar year. But then after that City defeat, chasing the ball a lot, we did fear it was going to be difficult. Really important win for Cardiff to get them out of trouble. And for Bristol City, as we said before, not a huge amount to play for. They have had some injuries. It was possible, and it is one of the predictions we got right. For Huddersfield, on the other hand, it is now back-to-back 4-0 wins. The one away at Burnley, probably forgivable. At home to Coventry City, though, not quite so much, because that's a side that hadn't even been scoring one a game away from home prior to the weekend. And Huddersfield, they capitulated. There is no other way of putting it. And it is something that is really going to have to be addressed by Neil Warnock. Wasn't the worst start in the world, but once the second went in, it really looked like a training session, which is going to be a huge worry. It leaves them 7 points behind safety, 31 points at the bottom of the table. They have to win this game, Huddersfield. They have to get a reaction. Bristol City are one of the weakest teams away from home. They're one of the worst teams defensively away from home. And looking into this one, where Huddersfield are a better team at home generally, take aside the weekend. They don't draw many, but otherwise, they do pick up a few wins. And I know it's risky after the weekend, and it may well lose me some points here. But I've got to go for Huddersfield to win. I just feel it's so important for them. Neil Warnock will get a response. We're going for the new manager bounce to return. I'm going for 2-1 to Huddersfield Town. And there's every chance that's wrong. And I'll apologise to Bristol City fans. But I'm going 2-1 to the hosts. Next up is a big game for a side at the top of the table this time, as Reading host Sheffield United in second place. Of course, the gap between them and Middlesbrough close to 4 at the weekend after Sheffield United were beaten 1-0 at Blackburn in a very tense game. And Reading, well, they lost 5-0 to Middlesbrough to not help Sheffield United at all. Now, we've said it before with Reading. They are awful away from home, second worst in the Championship. At home, they are excellent. If it was just on home form this season, they would be in the playoff places. Of course, there is this cloud of another EFL charge and possible points deduction on the way, and they are 12 points clear of the relegation zone, so just in case, probably do need a few more home wins. They won their last 2 home games against Blackpool and Rotherham, but this is a very different level of opposition. We know that Sheffield United are in this horrible run of fixtures. If you look at the end of the season, 6 of their last 7 games are actually pretty friendly on paper. They could be facing a lot of sides with either nothing to play for or in that relegation scrap. So for now, it's probably just about staying in the mix rather than trying to be expansive and get big wins. And away at Reading, anything other than a defeat is probably a good result. They've been brilliant at home all season. Sheffield United, just the goals drying up a little bit. It was a big effort against Spurs, albeit with a rotated team in the FA Cup. So I think they might struggle to win this one, but I'm going to bank on them to pick up a point. It is their game in hand, so anything they get is a bonus. And I think they're going to get a decent 1-1 draw. I'm going for the Championship's favourite scoreline between Reading and Sheffield United. Well, on to the final game, which is pretty important at both ends actually. West Brom chasing the playoffs at home to Wigan in the relegation zone. Sean Maloney continued his pretty impressive start at Wigan with a 1-1 draw at home to Birmingham. Coming back from behind early on, really important as well. Showed character in adversity. Of course, their only defeat under Maloney came at Preston with that shocking penalty decision. Other than that, they've not let in more than 1 in a game and they've not lost a game. So definitely positive signs for them. They've been better away from home for the most part this season. And away at West Brom, it's going to be interesting. They've actually lost 3 of their last 5 now, albeit those were all away games, and at home they've been exceptional. But against Hull, they started brilliantly. They had 3 or 4 glorious chances early on, but then let in a silly goal, and in the end, it was a proper smash and grab from Hull. Rossinia's side able to sit behind the ball, and West Brom just couldn't get the goals and the ruthless edge to break them down. So a difficult one to predict. You've got to back West Brom to do well at home. I know Wigan have been so much better, and I know they've got a threat, but I just can't see them getting anything out of this. It's not a game that's going to define their season, albeit with the gap 6 points now, they're going to have to start picking up some results they're not expected to. But I'm going for West Brom. On paper, they've got a very generous run in towards the end of the year. If they win this one, they'll be back within 4 of the playoffs, level on games and near enough level on points. I'm going for a West Brom win. 2-0, a Carlos Corberán special. Exactly the same as they did at home to Middlesbrough. And let's have a quick recap of what I've predicted for this midweek action. I am going for no away wins, 2 home ones for struggling Huddersfield and flying West Bromwich Albion, and then a Sheffield United point away at Reading to keep them comfortable in second place. That's it for me though. What do you think of my predictions? Do you agree with them or disagree? Let me know in a comment section down below and give me your predictions for the midweek fixtures. Of course, if you beat my score, you will get a shout out in a recap at the start of Thursday's episode for the weekend. A massive thank you for watching as always and your continued support. If you did enjoy this one, do chuck a thumbs up on it. Subscribe for regular content from the podcast. If you're in the US, do check out the HelloFresh link. It is a massive support to the channel. And of course, turn that notification bell on to make sure you get an alert as soon as Thursday's episode is released. I'll see you there for that one. I hope you have a good week. And fingers crossed if your side's in action, they're putting a good performance. I'll see you next time.